Unveiled Secrets, A Wedding Planner Mystery, Book 3, by Mary Karnes. Narrated by Jeannie Sheneman. Chapter 1. Will you want to preserve your bridal bouquet? There are many ways to do so. You can dry the whole thing, dry just a few petals, or send in a photo of the fresh bouquet and commission a mini painting of it. Etsy has many such affordable options. To say that I was surprised would be an understatement. My longtime friend, Charlie Wentworth, was getting married. We lived in a small town and I didn't even know he was dating anyone. No one did. He had asked me to help plan it, and I had mixed emotions. Of course I would. He had done a lot to help me legally in the past. Yes, I had a few run-ins with the law in the past couple of years. But I would return the favor with my own set of skills. Ha ha. I wouldn't even charge him. I pushed down the questions in the back of my brain as to why I felt discombobulated at the thought of Charlie getting married. I acknowledged that he had always had a soft spot for me, and although my feelings weren't the same, maybe, just maybe, I had always thought of him as a backup. My current love life? I was back together with my old boyfriend, Brian McAllister, high school heartthrob and love of my life. I was a recent divorcee from Southern California, being forced from my marriage and my home when my cheating ex took up with my next-door neighbor. I ran home to my roots here in New England with my 16-year-old daughter in tow. Everything was going well. My business as a wedding planner was blooming, and then, last year, I was accused of killing my favorite florist. Let me clarify. My favorite florist, but not my favorite person. Even I had to agree that I looked like a great suspect. Charlie was there for me, represented me as my attorney. I slightly took advantage of his lingering adolescent feelings for me, refusing to consider that I had similar ones. Did I? Or was I just out of sorts because someone I had always thought I could count on day or night would be unavailable after he got married and had a family of his own to answer to? Charlie had made it very clear that he and Remley would be trying for a family ASAP. Ugh, TMI. We were meeting today in my Main Street office to talk about the wedding, and I would have the pleasure of meeting Rem, as Charlie referred to her, with so much affection. My office was on the second floor of a historic house renovated for commercial use. On the first floor was The Perk, everyone's favorite coffee hangout, and owned by my best friend since forever, Jen Cooper. I'm proud to say, I was now able to pay her full retail rate rent for my upstairs office space. Jen had generously rented me my office for less than nothing when I first came back home, and sadly, I had to accept her help. Oh, she said the space was empty anyway, but both she and I knew that she could rent it in a heartbeat after her most recent tenant had moved out. Lucky me that the vacancy opened when it did. I moved into my historic home, purchased from my half of the sale of my outrageously expensive tiny California marital home, on a Tuesday, and into my new office space the next day. I jumped into the wedding planning business with both feet. It was my way to support myself and my daughter Ellis. Grant, my ex, did help some. Wedding planning had been a part-time gig in California, but was my life's blood here. Knock, knock. Charlie tapped on my half-open door as he entered my space with a pretty young woman following closely on his heels. Okay, now to stare and get a full description so I could share with Jen and Sarah when we met for coffee later. Jen, the aforementioned best friend, and Sarah, well, she's a bit more complicated. Sometimes I just love her. More often, I hate her. Can you say there's history there? Remley was a tall brunette with a pixie cut and big blue eyes. She had the look of a young Audrey Hepburn and looked more than a little like me. I think the Audrey Hepburn vibe was intentional. She was dressed in a sleeveless classic black shift dress. We made eye contact, and she gave me a shy smile. I rose from the guest chair I had been waiting for them in the reception area. Reception area? Sounds fancy. It was not. I had 2 rooms in my rented suite, and a powder room. The room where I now greeted Charlie and Remley was the room that opened from the upstairs hallway. It was pleasantly furnished with 2 small powder blue guest chairs, a small round table, which typically held wedding-themed coffee table books, and fresh flowers. There were 2 windows which looked out over the Connecticut River, and they had dusty blue valances to add a little style. The fabric matched that of my guest chairs. Yes, I did fork over the money to decorate my 2-room suite. One had to look prosperous to appeal to potential clients. Or so I told myself as I approved the purchase of my decor items. I gave Charlie an affectionate loose hug and extended my hand to Remley. I smiled broadly as I shook her hand. "So lovely to meet you, Remley. Charlie can't stop raving about you," I said. Remley looked to Charlie and smiled. Come in, come in." I ushered them into my inner office and into the guest chairs, which matched the ones in the outer room. I offered them coffee from my little coffee bar and prized espresso machine. "Please don't tell Jen," they declined. I sat down in my office chair behind my desk and smiled at them. They both seemed nervous. "First of all, congratulations! Have you thought of a date yet?" They looked at each other and smiled. "We are hoping for Valentine's Day," Remley shared. I could see her squeeze Charlie's hand. "That's lovely. And here in New England, it's not a popular day because it's in the heart of winter." "The wedding will be small. I was thinking of something at the club." Charlie was referring to the Eastbury Country Club, a beautiful, rather rustic course right here in town. "That shouldn't be too hard to book. If you want, I can reach out to the head of banquet services and see if they have an opening that day." "Sounds good, Kate. But now Rem and I need to get to our engagement photo shoot." I stood as well. What? We had so much to discuss. "Geez, Charlie, there's still a lot to go over." "Well, I just thought once we had the club booked, we were all set." Oh, my stars. "No, that's just scratching the surface. We have to book entertainment, a florist, videographer, schedule appointments for Remley's dress, hair, and makeup. This is just the beginning." "That's why we have you, right, Kate?" Charlie all of a sudden seemed rushed and stressed. He couldn't get out of my office fast enough. He didn't wait for a reply from me, but marched Remley to the reception room and went for the exterior door. "Wait!" I squeaked out. I shoved one of my business cards with all my contact info into Remley's hand. "Call me, and we will have lunch without party pooper Charlie," I said, with a smile to soften my words. Remley smiled, but she too felt the shift in Charlie's demeanor and just gave me a quick nod. Weird. I shrugged it off and decided to go grab a cup of coffee downstairs at the Perk. I texted Sarah on the way. I know, not the wisest to text and walk downstairs. Me. Meet at Jen's for coffee in 5? Sarah. You bet. I entered the Perk through the interior entrance, down the staircase outside my office door, and into the main room of the coffee shop, and grabbed a table right away. It was mid-morning, but the Perk was still very busy. Tally, Jen's #1 barista and assistant store manager.